Yo, what is up, guys? My name is SmurpH, and I'm the worst commentator commentating. And before I get into the commentary, I'd like to get some things out of the way. First off, I'm thinking of making a new series idea, and one thing that's involved in it is having very frustrating classes. So if you guys have any very frustrating classes, then go ahead and leave them down in the comments below, because I just want a class to use for the first episode of the series. But anyways, that's pretty much it for that. And the topic I'm going to get into today is something that I got into in the commentary a long time ago, actually, like towards the start of my channel, and it's religion. And this one's going to be basically religion in society, and the way that society basically uses religion nowadays. I mean, in the past, I'm not going to lie, religion was a huge part of everything. In the past, Christianity started wars that lasted hundreds of years and just killed millions of people. And, religion's always been there, and let me get to this. The only reason that religion was truly invented is, first off, it started off before Christianity. There was religions, and mainly they were just based off, something that people want to believe they're going somewhere after they die. People want to believe that. And in order for, the world, or like the leaders, to make everybody think, that you are going somewhere when you die, but in order to go, you're going to have to do these things. You're going to have to follow our rules, and you're going to have to be a behaved, civilized society. And that's basically why religion was ever introduced in the first place. Sure, I don't judge if any of you guys have religion. I mean, I'm agnostic, which means I'm iffy on the belief of God. So actually, I do kind of believe in God. So I'm not like trying to bash religions in here, but this is just basically what I perceive that how religion started and how they basically grew. But yeah, religion basically, came about and started getting heavily into things because people wanted to move on to an afterlife. And they wanted to move on to an afterlife, but in order to get there, according to people, they had to abide by laws. Because if you are an inhumane, uncivil human being, then you are just going to go straight to hell. And hell was, there's no middle ground. There's no middle ground. You either sin once, or you go to hell, and you don't sin, you go to heaven. But there's also, other religions that I never really got into in my other commentary, like Buddhism and Hinduism, where you keep moving on throughout your life. As long as you do good, you will move up. And if you do bad, then you will live a worse life, There's things like that. And they all basically have the same perceptions. You have to abide by these rules in order to truly go on and do what your afterlife or your current life wants to do. But, yeah, I mean, that's basically how religion started. But now, if you look at society today, Christianity is one of the most, popular religions still. But if you look at some of the kids who wear crosses on their neck, like kids in my school wear crosses, they're out there and they're fucking everybody, People preach so much hate against gay marriage, but yet, it's also a sin to fuck every guy in the school. And it's also a sin to fuck every girl in the school. It's a double standard there, there's no man sluts. But anyways, it's just ridiculous that some people, they call themselves Christians nowadays. They wear the cross on their neck, but yet they go out and they're not in a sober state of mind on the weekends. They have sex before marriage with girls that they barely know, They do all these things and they don't abide by the Bible. So they aren't really religious people. And if they are believers in Christianity, then maybe, I don't know if they just want to go to hell, or if, I don't really get that. You can't call yourself a religion just because your parents, celebrated that religion and you just never really looked into it for yourself. See, I was a self-perceived Christian until I was about 13, when I really started, looking out in the world and saying, maybe some of this isn't all true. Maybe what I've been going to church for all my life isn't really, all true. So I became agnostic because I don't want to doubt there's a God, because I believe that something had to be out there to create all of us and everything around us. But I don't really believe it's a human being. I don't really know what it is. It's a really confusing concept, and it's something that when you try to think about it in your head, it just goes crazy. But anyways, religion is just preached so much by people who aren't worthy to preach it. If you can't be a religious person if you're not going to represent what your religion stands for. And that's basically just how I perceive religion today, and how, I believe it started and whatever. But, if you are a religious person and you call yourself a religion, just please, try to act like you're part of that religion. I love you guys. Goodbye.
AC-130 standing by. Repeat, AC-130 standing by.